Hey everybody, this is Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell coming to you again with another Okla Proud interview. Again, I hope everybody is staying safe out there. You're washing your hands, as I say on every episode. Sing happy birthday. Very easy to do that, but you don't realize how big of a deal it is to continue to be social distancing. Listen to those guidelines that we have in place, no matter what city you are currently in. These next few weeks, as we get closer to May, are critical when it comes to really bending this curve and defeating this virus. But while we are all at home, being safer at home and sheltering in place and those type of things, I wanted to bring a series to you of just good Oklahomans that are bringing great relevant information to you throughout this. Kind of the folks that I believe are going to help lead the way and really help us turn Oklahoma into the state that we want to be. And with that, I have a gentleman named Dave Deken with us today with OKLApreneur, which is a really cool name, first off, very creative. One of my swim lanes is entrepreneurship. My wife and I are entrepreneurs. We run a small business. And so I'm really wanting to bring kind of good, relevant information to you, to just Oklahomans that you can be proud of. But with that, Dave, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about, why you started OKLApreneur and really what it is.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. My name is Dave Deken. I started OKLApreneur about a year and a half ago, whenever heard about the need for kind of learning about entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship from folks that have done it. I got my master's in entrepreneurship from Oklahoma State University, and, sitting through all the classes and learning about theory and all of that fun stuff, I thought, well, what if I were to sit down and learn from this person about what the tough times were for them and how they overcame it to actually become a larger business, and when they weighed the risk and went for it, or when they weighed the risk and didn't go for it. And because I felt that learning from folks is just as valuable as the theories that go into accounting or all of the leadership classes. And it seemed like it was a perfect fit for the time.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, we can sit through classes, and again, glad you have a master's in entrepreneurship. That's a very valuable thing. But, it's interesting. You're sitting in those classes thinking, man, what we really need, again, is to go out there and be learning from those entrepreneurs that are in those foxholes every single day, right?
Right. Exactly. I've had the opportunity to talk with many Oklahomans through the project, and not one of them has said, hey, I learned this in high school, or I learned this in college, or the majority of it has been trial and error and learning from other folks who have done it. So it just seemed like the right step to take, and the right place to put my extra energy whenever I'm not working my day job.
Yeah. Yeah. And your day job is, and where are you located in Oklahoma?
I'm actually in Stillwater. This is the OKLApreneur home office, because it is the office in the home. I could give you a 5-second tour of it, but but yeah, we're based in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I currently produce a television show for Oklahoma State University for the day job.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, tell me about a few, maybe give me a few examples of, people that you've interviewed. So I'm assuming the way that kind of OKLApreneur works, you interview them, then these interviews are kind of housed on the OKLApreneur website. So it's kind of an inventory then for entrepreneurs to be able to pull down, again, real life examples of entrepreneurs out there in the wild, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Give me a few examples of people that you've interviewed.
We've covered a lot of areas of starting the business. I mean, we've talked to folks who did it on a whim, like the folks down at Girls Gone Wine in Ho Chi Town.
Yeah,
They went on
they're
a
great.
girls
They're
trip down to
fantastic.
Dallas and said, how about we try this? And they did that 14 years ago, and it's kind of become a destination in Southeast Oklahoma. And then we've talked to folks like Nothing's Left Brewery in Tulsa, and they started in their garage, and got some traction there, and said, hey, what if we were to take the next step? Well, the next step required all of the licensing that goes in through the Able Commission and all of that, because they're brewing. And it was fun to hear from them about taking that step, and then managing the path that they had to do that. And
Yeah.
then District Bicycles here in Stillwater, Bobby Wintle, that guy has passion.
Oh my
And
gosh, Bobby's about as passionate of anyone that I know.
oh yeah, yeah.
It just, yeah,
And it was fun to hear from him about building that community, and why building a community is so important to the success of any business, really, because if you know where your customers are coming from, you can serve them best. And then on top
yeah,
of that, asking him, okay, so you started a 100-mile bike ride in your second or third year. Why did you think that would work? And it was fun to hear from him say, we just thought we should try it. And a bunch of his community said, let's do it. And so it's become a big event here in Stillwater and Payne County. And then the other angle of business that we've learned from is actually buying an existing business. Allison Bush up in Alva, whenever she purchased the Daisy Village. And there's a lot more that goes into buying an existing business than what you may think. And it was fun to
hmm,
ask her a question and see how the process was for her, especially going in never owning a business before. Because I mean, if you own a business and you're venturing into that field, you've probably already dodged the potholes. But she was successful in the process, but she didn't know that there were going to be actually 3 loans: one for the building, one for the actual business, and then one for the inventory. And
hmm.
so with the help of several folks in the community, they were able to help her be successful in that process. And
That's
it really has been it's really been an eye-opening experience throughout the whole process for me, to learn from those folks, because I get to ask the folks that have done it and that have been successful mostly throughout the process, and glean those little nuggets, kind of like Sam Walton used to do whenever he would travel with his family on vacation. He would strategically go on these vacations where he could stop off and talk to the owner of TG&Y, and just while the family's out having fun, he goes in and kind of picks the brains of the folks at TG&Y or Kmart or what would become Target, and kind of learn from them how they're doing business, so he can help himself uh, build on his business too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it sounds like with through some of your interview, I mean, you really get into the weeds as far as again the the nuts and bolts. I mean, you mentioned again all the from the different paperwork, dealing with the ABLE Commission, because again, when it comes to entrepreneurship, sometimes again the passion is there.
Right.
I see the passion there, but sometimes as an entrepreneur, we skip some of those very important steps on the front end. And so it's interesting I'm sure that again, if an entrepreneur is listening to another entrepreneur talk about again here's where I failed early on.
Mhm.
I was actually we did an interview with Bobby Grunwald, who
Mhm.
started the YouVersion app,
Mhm.
and it failed when it started. It failed because they started on with a website. It didn't start as an app. And it failed. And so out of their failure, they continued to be innovative. And I think through again what we're dealing with right now, and I'm sure you would probably echo this. What through this crisis that we're dealing with is where you're going to see a lot of new entrepreneurs and companies are going to be birthed out of this. Ideas that are going to kind of, I hope, really just set Oklahoma and this country I hope in a different direction, because I think we're going to be coming out of this really probably in a new world in some ways.
I, from the beginning of the economic situation that we're in, I I don't like saying it, but I've been kind of excited to see, like you say, what's going to come out of it on the other end. My dad has always told me, do within while you're doing without. And
Hmm.
so you see opportunities coming up, and maybe that's why I kind of went the entrepreneurship route rather than the MBA, because I can that, and I always call the entrepreneur masters the fun and creative MBA. But
Yeah, yeah,
this has been an this this has been an opportunity to kind of see where there are chances for growth and ways to do things better, because even like, you know, we're teleconferencing right now, that would not have been possible years ago. And somebody said, well, what if we were able to do a video conference here and have it sound and look very professional?
right.
What do you think anybody would buy it? Well, you know, 10 years ago, yeah, it's too expensive. I can just talk down the hall. I can get a video crew. I can make this happen in person. Well, a situation arose where a lot of the world is changing in that direction. So there are the opportunities for those little jewels in a tough economic situation that are going to arise, and people are going to move on those.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Have you? I'm assuming through just over the last few weeks, you've seen some entrepreneurs that have been pretty innovative. And in any examples of that that have really caught your eye?
Mhm. Actually, in talking with Allison Bush of the Daisy Village up in Alva, she is actually doing uh, phone guided tours of her store. She will get on FaceTime with you, and you can walk through the store, and this is what we have, and what do you think of this? Or you're looking for something else over here, and just really thinking of how the customer can still experience the
Mm,
store even though they can't physically walk in the store.
yeah.
So it has been um, a lot of fun finding out how they are growing, and kind of taking that left turn to, you know, this isn't the new normal, but this could be a tool that we could still use whenever we go back to normal.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. I think you just nailed it in that, you know, we're doing things right now to survive, and those things
Right.
that we're doing right now to survive may be the way that maybe a focus of our company when we get out of this. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, being in Alva, Oklahoma, I know where Alva is, and it's out there.
Yeah.
I certainly think and it's a wonderful tourism town.
Right.
But her giving these self-guided, you know, Facebook or FaceTiming with folks, that's probably something that she'll continue to do, because it's a
Oh yeah.
great way to really be to be, you know, that relationship with your customers is very, very important.
Regardless what the economic climate is, but she has always tried to meet the customer where they are,
Mm,
and she's been expanding her online business as well, leading up to this. And so that's why she didn't want to lose any of the momentum that she'd worked on up to that point, up to
yeah.
March, because she's invested a lot of time into making her business what it is online.
You've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs in the time that you've launched this the website. Yeah, barriers to growth in Oklahoma that entrepreneurs maybe talk about. Certainly, as an elected official, that would be something that I think would be very valuable for other Oklahomans to know as well. I mean, is there been you know, a theme at all to entrepreneurs in Oklahoma of just kind of any barriers to Oklahoma really being the hub of America for entrepreneurship?
I would say a centralized location for entrepreneurs would help from help them understand that, and that's kind of why we tried to pull some of the information from around the state into OKLApreneur, but helping folks understand that if I want to become an entrepreneur in Oklahoma, I need to go to this website, because there are a lot of resources across the state that want to help Oklahomans grow, from the incubator programs throughout the state. A lot of folks don't know about those,
Right.
but if there was a centralized state level push for that, and just the fact to for just the fact of knowing that they're available, it's great to have those resources in one spot, but to actually take that next step of advertising to a certain extent, but getting the word out that there is that one location. And I've heard that from folks, but then I've also heard that broadband speeds have been limited, and especially in rural Oklahoma. And I do know that we're making a lot of progress in that field. But those have been a couple of the things that I've heard from people across the state who are starting businesses or wanting to learn if their hobby is worth becoming a business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, that centralized location, you're right, just a central place for entrepreneurs to talk to other entrepreneurs from Alva to Tulsa and everywhere in between. Again, you're providing a great resource. How do people follow you on social media and your website, obviously?
It's OKLApreneur.com, or those handles on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube as well. It's Okla for Oklahoma and Preneur for entrepreneur. And my wife and I were, toying around with different names and ideas for that. And it wasn't until after I graduated with my master's that I actually learned how to spell entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's not an easy one,
Right.
but yeah, it's OKLAPRENEUR.com, and same thing with the Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. I try to upload not only videos but inspirational quotes to help people kind of keep going through the entrepreneurship process, because the one I have up on my screen right now says, "Never stop dreaming. Life can go from 0 to 100 real quick." So it's just that little string to help you keep going through the tougher times. So I try to put those up on our social media accounts, and just give inspiration one way or another. It'd be a conversation I've had with an entrepreneur, or just those little sound bites right there, almost on a daily basis.
Oh, that's great. That's really great that you do that. And again, you mentioned a quote from your father earlier on. What was that quote again? Because I really liked that. I think there's a lot of truth in what he had said.
He had always told me, do within while you're doing without.
Yeah.
Because you may not have the resources to make it happen then, but if you just keep rolling it through your mind and working out all the bugs, so that way whenever the transmission goes from neutral to drive, you're ready to go.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've prepared yourself, and that's really good. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for, again, you have a day job, but you had a passion for entrepreneurship. And again, I think it's so critical. And I remind people of this: if an entrepreneur in Stillwater or Alva or Tulsa or anywhere in our 77 counties, if they can't go somewhere to find help, we live in a very mobile society. They'll go to Dallas, they'll go to Houston, they'll go to Kansas City and Denver, or these other cities that certainly have prioritized entrepreneurship. So we wanted to make sure that we had you on, because again, I think you're someone that really speaks to and is a good model for this Okla Proud interview series, that, you're doing this, volunteering your time to provide some resources to entrepreneurs, just to know that, hey, you're not alone. We're here for you, and we don't want you to go anywhere. We want you to be able to raise a family here and succeed here. So any final thoughts for Oklahomans?
I'm a fifth generation Oklahoman, and I have that pride in Oklahoma that I'm so thankful that you're promoting, and I'm glad to see that pride sprouting across the state and really taking hold, and probably I would say if you have that idea for a business, bouncing around in your head, it's worth writing it down and preparing a plan for it, because and one thing I found is go ahead and build a prototype. Regardless what you're doing, if it's big enough thought in your head, it's probably worth at least prototyping and trying.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of potential entrepreneurs don't take that step.
Yeah.
And I would love to see more people take that next step, because there are resources out there to help you take the step after that, and then the following step. And people do want to help you succeed.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely right. One step at a time. And right now, when we have the time to maybe breathe a little bit more, being homebound the way that we are, take those steps now, because when we get out of this, we're going to be all kind of like almost fired out of a rocket right back into the world, the new world that I think we're going to be coming into. So Dave, thank you so much. Look forward to, again, I hope a whole lot more people following you, continue to tell the stories of entrepreneurs in this state. And if we do that, we absolutely can be a top 10 state in all the good areas. So look forward to connecting with you further in the months and years ahead. And thanks everybody for watching again. We'll be back again with another Oakland Proud interview for you. Thank you all.
Sorry, I kind of